All right, you groovy grasshoppers. Once again, it's Tom's fault. We had to move the timing of this universally. I mean, yes, and I mean universally watch the show, right? Multi-universes watch the show, and I had to move the timing of it. So the whole world, the worlds are kind of waiting, and now we're back.
Well, the good news is people can tune in at any given time.
That's true. That's true.
And catch this a little bit of magic.
PatriotTrainingSystems.com. He's the man. Trains everybody universally. He, like any aliens or like that, you could train anybody.
Right? Yeah. It's just the slimy ones I don't like.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to give one chance to answer this question properly. This is in the hockey world. Who's the most unaware person in the world, or in all the universes in the hockey world?
Unaware person in the hockey world. That's a loaded question. There's a lot of them.
Okay, I'll narrow it down. He's a coach.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're leaning toward Mike Babcock for some strange reason.
Okay, so anybody that hasn't heard the story yet, I think you all have. So Mike Babcock, we go back to the Detroit days, the Toronto days, has a history for feeling it's appropriate to mentally abuse young hockey players.
Yeah.
So Franson, apparently Swedish winger in Detroit, he had depression in it too after dealing with Babcock, right?
Yeah.
And then with Mitch Marner, little guy in Toronto, very good player, when he was younger, obviously. Babcock had him go into his office and rate. That's okay, the dogs. That's okay. It's okay.
Right. Sophie, you can stop it now. You're going to go in a crate.
Oh no, the crate,
the dreaded crate.
so he had Marner rate all his teammates from best to worst on their grittiness and work ethic.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Little discipline.
Right now. So everybody knows. So with Marner, he had him rate all the players on the Toronto Maple Leafs from top to bottom on their grit and determination.
Yeah. Tell me how you like it. I don't like it when Beth makes me go in there.
Oh, nice. So then once Marner rated all the guys, Babcock took this rating and in front of the whole team announced how Marner rated these guys. So the purpose of that, who knows what the rationale would be. So now we fast forward to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So he's been out of the game for 2 or 3 years now.
They're on there, yeah.
Yeah, so now they hire my good friend John Davidson, who I think the world of, president of the team there. They hired Mike Babcock, kind of a gutsy move a little bit, right? I'm sure they've done a ton of interviews that he's changed. We did a podcast with Kent Hitchcock, who's friends with Babcock, and claims Hitchcock says, yeah, he's changed. So now what he does is he makes his players open up their phones and look at all the pictures and decide which he wanted some of the family pictures, what he said, to put up on his wall because he wants to show he's more family friendly now. He's changed who he is. The phoniest thing in the planet.
Well, not only that, it's kind of like freaky.
Oh yeah,
like that's kind of weird. Yeah. I'd be like, dude, like really?
I'm sure. Here's what my take on it is. So he's now everybody's schooled him. Here's what everybody thinks of you right now. You're this cold, conniving guy. Doesn't care about anybody else. So now he wants to flip the script.
Let's be family.
Yes, he's a family man. I'm a family man. So he's creeps
maybe it's not his fault. Maybe it's the only in his mind he really thought that was being a family man. Like
I do.
See,
I agree with that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. He said that, but it's all it's not natural, right? It's calculated. Okay, how can I make myself look better?
Yeah, and he thought that was going to be it.
Yeah. So I guess some of the players called up Biznasty there that's on Spittin' Chicklets. Yeah. And to his credit, he's the scoop man now, right?
Yeah.
So so he broadcast it and everybody got a hold of it. The NHL Players Association went into a bunch of interviews and it appears from the club's press release that it was kind of a mutual decision to resign, which they fired.
It's really a strange story, but it's not strange in the sense that it's Mike Babcock.
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing. That's part of it too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's what's to me, it's a little struggling for me because I've listened to a lot of his coaching clinics and stuff. And there's so many good things he says and so many things that I've kind of thought about. Yeah, that really makes sense. And then this side of him is just, it's strange.
You know what I think it is with those kind of guys? Like, and I think Mike Keenan's in the same category that they think they're the mad professor in the room, right? They're going to reinvent the wheel, reinvent how to coach. So he's got to come up with a brilliant idea to make himself look good. Instead of just coaching the game, like just coach the game for God's sake.
Yeah, it's really a pretty simple game. Yeah, get it deep, work hard, put it in, and go home.
I'm trying to think back, like would Freddie Shero have ever gone to me, Tom? Can I have some pictures of your family and put them up?
No, I mean, and Freddie was strange, but in a good way. Like you know, if he didn't think the bench was paying attention, he'd call out Laidlaw and be like, "He's in L.A."
Yeah, it's true.
But he was doing it to make sure the bench was locked, was dialed in.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, they just, you know what? The game is just not that. Life's not that complicated, for God's
No,
sakes. Yeah,
it
tell
really
the truth,
isn't.
work hard. Yeah, tell the truth, work hard. And,
You know, it's funny. So there's a guy, DJ Shipley. Well, Don Shipley, DJ's his son, but he has this very popular YouTube channel where he exposes fake Navy SEALs. And his justification, I agree with him, is like you're stepping ahead of people with your hand out on the blood of 80 years of UDT and SEAL guys, right?
Yeah.
So there was one I was watching this morning. It gets the guy, and they, generally speaking, they finally admit it, and they're very contrite and all that kind of stuff. But so this guy wouldn't back down because he'll say, "What was your class number?" And somebody will spit out a number. Okay, when was that? When did you graduate? And I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he says, "Did you ever fire a Dregger?" And he goes, "Yeah, the 50 cal." He goes, "No, Dregger's a rebreather." You know, and like, how stupid can people be that you think you're going to get away with it?
But you know what, though? In the business world that I've been in since I retired, it's amazing how many people try to pull over fast one. I had a business deal, I can't remember what it was, with a guy, brilliant guy, really intelligent, but his whole thing was a scam. So I thought, well, if he had just put the same effort into doing it the right way.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, how about John Spano? I mean, there's a great story.
Oh, yeah.
Buys the Islanders. He doesn't even have a pot to piss in a window to throw it out of.
I know.
Printed, because this was the when we had facsimiles. He had fake facts showing he had all this money and all this stuff. Yeah. But you know what? I believe when dealing with people, I think your gut is always right. Your gut's always right. I mean, if you're saying, you know what, this is kind of it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, just getting over the COVID. So here was what we'll give you. The Rangers have their alumni. Is it alumni? No, it's the alumni participated, but a golf tournament today, Westchester Country Club. So again, I've just got to be symptom free, so I can't really. I'm not going to go to that. There's a bunch of older guys.
Right.
So one, we won't. Well, should we name him or not? Like a former player.
Yeah.
So Mr. Larry Melnick.
How did I know it was going there?
Well, see, he's brainwashing people here too, right?
Yeah.
You're being rude to a dignitary. Larry Melnick is a dignitary. So here's the deal. I'll go back and give you a short. Well, maybe it won't be short. So months ago, we were really really deep into doing our Thursday show at 2:00. Ron Grester, myself, Larry Melnick, James Patrick. So Larry went through a tough time, and I won't get it. It's a legitimate tough time. So he just dropped off the map for a couple of months. I'm not texting him every day and sending rude texts and telling him how mad I am at him. I'm leaving him alone.
Yeah.
So I'm home with COVID. I tell him I've got COVID, but I'm supposed to be contacting him to make plans. And I'm like, okay, I've got COVID. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and then it's like this big production too. It's like drama. I think after a few Pabst Blue Ribbons, he's sending off these texts like, the last one I got was like just like a 12-year-old. Don't ever talk to me again like that. So,
you hurt his feelings apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah.
It's a one-way street.
Yeah. That's how I always tell my kids.
Okay, here I knew this was going to come up, but we went to the gym. I have the key to the gym. I go in by myself. So that's the answer to your question there. Jackass.
Listen, you got to keep going forward just because a little COVID doesn't stop you.
Right. I mean, yeah. Like I go to 3:53 in the morning, do a motivational video. I'm out in the open in fresh air.
Yeah.
Nobody's around.
Just the pigeons.
Oh, God. So I went to the gym. I went to the gym today. It was the first day. Oh, God. Tracy Marie's just like, she's getting just sucked right into the whole wind tunnel there. that Larry Melnick creates.
If you're that sick.
Yeah, because you know what I do? If I'm sick, I still go get my job done. I don't sort of whine about it like certain dignitary.
I think Tracy's on to you. I'm starting to get the feeling.
Yeah, she's trying to stir the pot here. Yeah. It's not happening. I'm not going for it. There's just no way. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. I mean, Saturday I did it. Was it Saturday? I'm trying to remember. I did a killer hike. So there's this section that the guys we always go up, like it's pretty flat and then go straight up and it's rock and it's trees. It's pretty difficult. So I always time myself going up there, and I did it in 7:56, which is pretty fast.
Nice.
And my heart rate got up to 167. Now I don't know if that's good for a dude my age, but I'm still here.
That's
so
cool.
It works.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah.
And
then I get up there and then do my thing, a little martial arts for a while, a couple pull-ups.
I forgot to ask you, what were you doing the backward march? Backward march. What was all that about?
Well, I tripped so there's a guy, I forget his name. He's on YouTube. He's like a martial arts guy, but it's called shamanic walking. And shamanic walking it's more like spiritual, where you really, instead of just going for a hike and going through the woods, you really start to notice what's around you. You really start to take a good look and kind of feel the vibe. And one of the ways to do that is walk backwards. Now, it's kind of risky because you could take a digger. So I do it where it's a pretty wide path, and I know the terrain fairly well. But it gives you a different perspective. It really does. And if you do it for a period of time, I wouldn't say it's Zen-like, but you certainly get a different view of the world. Yeah.
So Mark sent me a video, and he didn't realize there's a guy coming up behind him. And he's walking backwards, and I'm thinking, this guy thinks he's fucking nuts.
That guy was concerned. He had a little he had a look of concern on his face. Yeah.
Agreed. Tom, sick or injured? Keith, first of all, how you doing, my brother? Another veteran there. Agreed. Sick or injured? Got to continue to move forward. Good afternoon, Tom. And the GOAT of coaching, the greatest of all time. Yes.
Listen, we got to shout out to Keith. His wife had some surgery last week. She's doing better. She's doing fine. And Keith's a good man. He's a great man. He's got beautiful little girls and a great wife. And yeah, he's a good hockey player too.
Yeah, all our best to your wife. Hope she recovers quickly here. Yes. So everybody knows, again, this was my fault today. Mark was ready to go at 11 o'clock.
Well, I was in a 3-point stance. I was ready to go.
But again, because of my being sick last week, we didn't record any the Full Change podcast. So we got a.
Who'd you have this morning?
We had Scott Parker. And,
I like Scott. He's a good guy.
Yeah, good, funny guy, great storyteller with the fights. And we had this young guy, Jason Payne. He's coaching in Cincinnati in the East Coast League, I believe it is. Yep, he banged out. He has a fantastic story too about a young guy from Toronto. He's a black guy, and the racism he had to face growing up, and then playing, and he's a tough guy too. And so now he's coaching. So his goal, really, like, great speaker and everything too. Beautiful family. His little daughter's in the background trying to get out of the street. So it's cool. Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, Parker is
he's funny.
He was a first-round draft pick. As a tough kid.
Was he a first-round pick?
First-round pick.
Wow.
Yeah, New Jersey.
Wow. That's right. Yes, and he couldn't come to an agreement with New Jersey, and then got redrafted by Colorado.
Yeah. And he's a pretty tough dude, man. He's a good kid too. Not a kid, he's a man. Yeah.
He's all tattooed up and everything like that. He had some issues with concussions in it too in his career there. So he's got into the hemp business. He's got his own companies now where they sell natural products. Really cool. Like, instead of being on pharmaceuticals, they were doing nothing for him. In fact, it was ruining him. So he got educated himself and got into the whole hemp business to help with his concussions. Does a lot with the military as well. His father was in the Air Force for the.
Is he Canadian or is he American?
American. Yeah,
he is American.
Yep. He was born in California, actually. His father worked after the service. His service, he worked in the. A games commission or something like that, like out the
wildlife or something. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Cool dude. He's funny though, man.
He's still in Colorado, I believe, right?
He's in Colorado and down in Bradenton, Florida. They got a place in.
Bradenton,
Bradenton, down in Florida as well.
Yeah.
Funny, man. He starts telling the stories about the fights he got to. Great character.
Yeah. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Real big boy. Yeah.
It's funny, when you interview these guys, especially the tough guys. Everybody thinks, they're growing up, where they're fighting like when they were 7 years old. Nobody was doing that, right?
No, one day they got into a fight and they slaughtered the guy, and then they said, "Okay, you're going to fight now all the time."
He actually told a story about his first fight. He's like 15 years old, whatever. I'll let people listen to it, but it's funny because he really didn't know what to do at all. He just picked the guy up and ragdolled him, and he looked over at the bench. He's like, "Okay, is that what I'm supposed to do?"
Is that how we do it? Yeah. I have found, I'm sure you have too, because you played and everything, but I haven't met a tough guy that wasn't a good dude. I just haven't yet. Yeah.
Like super good too. Like,
that's what I mean. Yeah. A few other guys that I could, if I never see them again, it's okay. But all the tough guys, I always end up being really good friends with them all.
Yeah. This will be an interesting interview here, Anthony. Good call by you, Matthew Barnaby, for Full Change podcast. He's a good character.
Yes, he is. We when I was in New York, we got him at the deadline.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he
he's
not Mike. Oh man, Michael Grosek. Remember Mike?
Yeah.
Grosek? So they got into a fight on the bench playing together for the Sabres. So now, you walk in a room and like the goaltenders are to your left, and so it was Grossi and Barnaby sitting next to each other, and it was one of those Saturday games, like an afternoon game, and it was on ABC because it was back then, and it was the first game at the Garden where Eric Lindros was playing against the Flyers.
Oh, okay.
and they had called up Grossi from Hartford, and he went out and he had a goal and a helper in the first period. So
Yeah.
he gets in the locker room and he stands up. This is after the first period. He goes, everybody's like, yeah, way to go, Grossi. He stands there. He goes, that's right. That's because I'm a half man. I'm a half monster. I'm a manster. And Barney just looks at us, just whatever it is, just keep doing it. All right.
Oh, that's funny. They actually got on a fist fight on the bench in Buffalo?
On the bench. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah.
Teammates.
I'll have to find it. But yeah, they did.
Oh,
yeah.
that's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could see how it would happen too.
Yeah, because there's plenty of them in practice, right? I think that people don't realize how many fights there were in practice. I think I told you the story about George McPhee and Steve Richmond, right? Swinging the sticks at each other.
No.
Oh, Rye Playland, and they were great friends too. Both tough guys. George is one of the best ever. And I don't even know what happened. I think it was just we were losing or whatever. Everybody's in a bad mood, and we're out there with no helmets on too. And all of a sudden, these two guys start pushing and shoving, and then they start swinging the sticks at each other's heads.
Wow.
With no helmets on, and there's no referees, so we as players are going to jump in.
Yeah,
but we've got to
wait till the stick stop.
Oh yeah. So we separated them and we took him into the training room, and I can't remember the trainer's name, Bob Murray, I think it was. Good, really, really good guy. Yeah. And he says, "Okay, I've got him," because they'd settled down at this point. Well, we're all in the middle, so they really can't get at each other. So we leave him in there with the trainer, and we hear this banging and crashing. They start throwing chairs at each other.
Oh, Jesus.
So we had to dive back in again. The chairs are flying all over the place, and they're all cut up. And funny. They actually Steve Richmond ended up working for George McPhee in Washington as part of his staff there at the Washington.
Oh, did he?
So,
yeah, he was a pretty tough kid, Steve Richmond.
Yes. Oh, he was funny guy. Yeah. Oh man, he was funny. We so the big game we played in 1984 against the Islanders, Game 5 when Kenny Morrow scored.
Yes.
So the night before, we're in the hotel. We're all getting together, and we're going to play. What was the board game? That was a big game. It's like it was a pie shaped. It's some. I can't remember. The name will come to me. So we're playing this board game. We got half the team on one side, half the team on the other, and it's where you're given a card and you ask a question.
Yeah, I know which one. I can't think of it now.
Yeah,
it was very popular for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a big game back then. So we're going back and forth, and we're just a bunch of dummies, hockey players. So we're going back. It turns into a fake brawl in the hotel room. We actually broke a chair. Joey Bucchino was like kind of the team manager at the time.
Joey, yeah.
So he finally got the bill months later during the summer, and he said, "Tommy, what did you guys do in the room? They're charging us for a broken chair." I said, we had a little fake brawl. So he's like, "What is going on?" But at the Trivial Pursuit, thanks, Ira.
Trivial Pursuit, yes.
So at the end of the brawl, somehow they took the garbage can on top of Steve Richmond's head, and we're all punching the garbage can. And here it is before like one of the biggest games ever, But it was all good. I mean, it was actually great because we're all bonded together and all that stuff. So it was funny.
But that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, it was.
What it's all about.
That was a blast. That was a really good. That team, I think that was probably the best team that I had with the Rangers. Although we got we got beat out in the first round, but. Man, that was
well, there's so much to that. I mean, really is. Like, again, I don't want to be like, but when in New York when I was there that year, they had, I mean, Tryon Leach, Eric Lindros, Pavel Bure, Theo Fleury, and they didn't make the first round.
Yeah, I know,
because the room was not good.
Yeah.
It was like this, that, and the other thing, And yet, there's other teams I'm sure you played on that were maybe not as talented, but.
See, I almost think like you have to take the talent level maybe down a little bit and add character guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, like throwing in a guy like a Larry Patey for us at that point, like not like, and I say it's a compliment to him, not a great skater, but he had his role, right?
Yeah. He was a good PK guy. I remember.
Yeah.
Real good. Yep. St. Louis guy, right? Didn't they get him from St. Louis?
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. Yep.
Left-handed guy.
Yeah. Really good team guy too, like he just was a veteran, prepared all the time for games and practices. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you need that for everybody. I mean, even the older guys need a little reminder once in a while.
Yeah, Tracy May, once in a while she brings up a good point, like Kane this year. Yeah, that was a tough one for Chris Drury, the general manager for the Rangers, right? Because Kane went out publicly and said, "Okay, I want to play for
the only team."
Right. Yeah. If you lose out in the first round, and you didn't go get him. Everybody's like, "Why didn't you go get Kane?" Well,
so similar name, Mike Keane. There's an example in my mind where, like, you bring in a guy he was a character guy.
Yep.
But you didn't have enough to support him.
Right.
It didn't make that big of a difference.
Totally.
Whereas in Colorado, he fit in. So you got to have just the right mix.
Yeah, I can't always. The old Herb Brooks line, what was it? I don't want the best players. I want the right players, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was Herbie too, man.
100%.
Herbie didn't care what anybody else said. He had his people he was going to have, and he was going to do it. That's also, I think that's ultimately what wore thin here in New York too, is that mentality. It just wouldn't work. And but
Right.
it's also how we got successful too. Yeah. What else is going on? What do we got happening? So rookie camps have gotten going.
Yeah.
That was a fun time. I remember when I was a rookie coming to training camp at first. Man, like a dream come true,
cool.
right? You're dreaming about it all your life. Man.
I watched this morning. Bedard had the hat trick.
Yeah.
Tom, he shoots freaking BBs.
Oh, is that right?
It's unbelievable.
Right.
I mean, I understand he's not playing against top NHL, but they're drafted. They're good goaltenders. Sure. And I think 2 shots were off wing that were just snip. I mean, just ridiculous. And the third one, it looked like an innocent play. He came down the middle, took a pass from the wall, and just cut left and shot across his body. And you think,
is that right?
Like, oh man, he can shoot it.
Baby face too, right? He's only 18 years old. But
he's not big, but I don't see what I like about him besides his incredible talent. I think that because like part of what you have to do as a strength guy and work with the scouting stuff is look at kids, how old they are, and say, all right, he's like, you look at a guy 6'4", he's 180. All right, he's 18. By the time he's 21, he'll be 6'4", 215, 220.
Sure. Yeah.
You look at Bedard, he's pretty much physically, that's it. And he's a ball of muscle. I mean, his legs are like San Luis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's only like 5'10", I think, which means he's 5'9".
Right.
But so guys like that don't get hurt.
Yeah, and they don't need that upper body strength either. It's the legs and butt. That's what
But he's pretty, and even though his upper body's pretty thick too. So what I'm getting at is he's the kind of guy that's, because he's smaller. The longer you are, the more exposure you get when you're reaching, and more injury prone. Not prone, but susceptible to injury. So those guys that are built like a little bowling ball, I'm sure you've experienced it where you go to run a guy that's first time you play him, you go, I didn't realize that guy was that solid.
Yeah, I know. That's funny you say that. Before my first training camp, we went to a hockey school up outside of London, Ontario. I can't remember the name of the hockey school, but a lot of young potential pros would go there. So it's a really not only good camp, but it's a good kind of test before you had some really good players. And of course, I thought it's the toughest guy on the planet. And there's a French kid. I played in St. Louis. Can't remember his name. Right shot defenseman. I thought I'm going to smoke him in the corner. Go right on. He didn't even hardly move. He just like braced himself. Knocked me out. It was actually a really good wake up call. Realized, okay, Tommy, you're not the toughest guy in the world here. There's a lot of tough guys. So
and some guys, they don't look as strong as they are either.
Yeah,
yeah.
Walkenchuk, remember Walkenchuk? He was like that. Oh
yeah,
terrible. He didn't work out at all. I asked him. He's flying around a training camp, hitting everybody. He's played for like 15 years. And I go to Walt. They said, "Well, what do you do all summer long to stay in shape?" He said, "I drink a case of beer every day."
Yeah.
I thought he was joking, but once I got to know him, he was
telling it.
Oh, those are fun times. But those kind of things, like, oh man, it's fun. Like, you come to camp at first, it's all new. You haven't done it before. They handed out the numbers. And my camp, well, it wasn't just right away camp. Camp went well, and we got to, again, back then we played we had 2 days for a long time before we played a preseason game. So we'd gone through, I think, a couple of weeks of preseason or of training camp. And we go to play our first game, and Joey Lucchino hands me number 2 jersey, and he looks me in the eye, and he goes, "You deserve that." He goes, I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, am I really playing that well?
Yeah.
It's funny. I'll never forget that when he gave me that look, because usually you get number 46 or 48,
57 or 58 or something. Yeah.
Totally.
But a lot of guys keep that. They keep it if they make it to the show, they keep that number, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, guys. Go ahead.
When you were playing sports, were you big on what number you wore, or did you care?
No, not really. I just, I was happy to make the team. Whatever jersey they gave me, I just put it on. But like, so when my son Sean was playing hockey, I can't tell you how many times you see 99 out there. I go, what father would put that number on their kid? Because now the kid's a target right away. Like,
but do you think that's still as much anymore? I know it was before.
Not now, but back then it was. Yeah. And I'm a good friend of mine. You know him too. I won't say his name, but his son grew up playing hockey with my son, and he used his mother's maiden name because his father was an NHLer. And he didn't want to hear it, because he knew there'd be extra pressure on him. So he wore his mother's maiden name, which I thought was pretty smart of the family to do.
It's interesting. When my youngest son was going to college, you write that paper that for your entrance into the college. And he wrote in his that it was hard to live under the shadow of his father's the former NHL player, his father. And I really didn't see that, but it was interesting. And he wrote that. I guess
my kids had absolutely no fear of that whatsoever.
Funny stuff.
It actually got to a point, Tom, where as a kid, I was training Elvin Sanchez, and he had a fight in New York, pro fight, and he got stopped in the first round. Just one of those things that happens.
Right.
So now I'm taking his gloves off, and the kid he fought was Albanian. And Albanians are great people; they're awesome people. But all his boys were there, and they're chirping my guy. So like I'm supposed to be the adult. And my son Sean, I got him a license to work the fight with me because it's my second cornerman. Right, it's first Sean's probably like 20 at the time. And I spin around and I'm like, all right, one at a time, then two at a time. Come on up, right? And Sean's like, Dad, stop. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't this supposed to be the other way around?
I know. Yeah. Isn't it funny? I used to tackle like that years ago. So I don't know, 20 years ago. No, it wouldn't be 20, 15 years ago, let's say. We were at the gym. My two sons and I would go to the gym in the afternoon. After school, we'd go to this gym. We would go to play basketball first to warm up, and then we'd go and hit the weights. So we just walked in the gym, and all of a sudden, this basketball bounces off the back of my head. I turn around. I turn around. It's my youngest son, Cody, and I'm thinking, okay, it's an accident. He'll just apologize. But no big deal. It happens. He's looking at me like, "What the hell do you want? Like, is there a problem?" Like he done it on purpose. It was. I don't know what happened. We weren't fighting about anything, and so now I lose my mind. I said, "Get in the car. We're going home." Yeah. So now we got it's about a 15-minute ride down 95, traffic and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm losing my mind. Traffic. We get off the highway, and it's one of those. It's one of those rotaries, and got, certain people have the right of way and all this kind of. Of course, I think I've got the right of way all the time, especially in that mood. And this person cut me off, and I'm about to jump out of the car. My oldest son, Shane's sitting beside me. He grabs the back of my pants and plus to pull me back in. And I'm thinking, what an idiot!
I mean, my poor kid, my two sons, Sean and Ty, and. I can honestly say they probably were exposed to some points where it shouldn't. We were in it. Is this how long ago? The Manchurian Candidate. It was a great movie. Lee Schreiber. Yeah. So they're like, we're in a theater. It's an afternoon, right? And there's like 15 maybe people in the whole theater. 20 minutes into the film, this couple, like 2 rows behind me, they sit down and now they're gonna have a conversation. Oh God. And they're like older. They're like at the time I was in my 40s, maybe they're in their 50s, and the guy. And I just turn and they're, opening up packages and making a racket. I just turn around. I don't say a word. I just look at the dude. He goes, "You got a problem?"
Oh God.
So, now, of course, and now I hope now I would turn around and go, leave it go. I stand up and I said to him, I looked at him and said, "No, but would you like one?"
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then I go into the little, the runway there, and I'm saying, let's go out in the thing there.
Oh, did you call him out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And my kids are sitting there going, "Oh my God, why?" And then I used to do the thing when you go to a restaurant and you get the little hockey puck that lights up when your table's ready.
Yeah.
So I'd always tell the girl, "Okay, what's the name?" I go, "Hamster," and she'd write down "hamster." Right? So then the place be packed, and they go, "Table for 3, hamster. Come on, boys, let's go." And they'd be like, "Why do you do that? Why do you do that?"
Oh, that's funny.
But you know what? I got that from Puritan. So the stick rep came in one day. I think he was using Louisville at the time. Whatever, doesn't matter. And he's like, "Yeah, oh yeah," and Dale was kind of not an afterthought, but his main guy was Mess because Mess was using Louisville. He's really there to see Mess. As he's walking out, he sees Dale. "Oh yeah, Dale, I'm sorry. I'll have your 6 for you next week." And Dale's putting his case. "And you're gonna put my name on him?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, it's hamster." The guy looked at him like.
You talk about embarrassing your kids. I know I've told the story many times. We'd go to Costco. We'd love going to Costco. Mm-hmm. And so I would jump into the coolers, with the glass doors. And I would pretend I was locked in the cooler. Get out. Yeah. And the other people are all looking like, "What is going on with my kids?" That's
good. That's a good one.
That was funny. Yeah. Because we go to Costco and we just be like animals. Like Cody, the younger one, he'd get one of those office chairs and he's wheeling himself around the store. Like all the things that if I saw somebody else do now,
you'd get pissed.
I'd be mad. We're all doing it. Oh, God. We would do this. We had this thing where if we were driving someplace, I would say, "Okay, we are not stopping at any stop signs or any stop lights." So if the stoplight was, if we said it was turn red, I had to slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah. So I just creeping along, or we'd have to make a right-hand turn. So we didn't have, so we would get places, we didn't know where we are because we just kept making turns. So we didn't stop.
It'd take you 12 hours.
Oh, they get so mad. Like people be driving by and we did, they're coming the other way and whatever. I'm waving at them like, "Hey, how you doing?" Oh, I love it. Isn't it some embarrassing your kids? Right? I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised that they're both not in some kind of institution now from what I did. Seriously.
No. You know what? You sacrificed yourself for them. You showed them how not to conduct yourself.
Exactly.
Now they're intelligent men. That's what I did with my boys.
Well, the best story, I had a beater. I had this old beat up car, right?
Right.
So I'm over with the kids. I'm visiting my mom and dad, and I go to leave, and I lock the keys in the car. Right. So I go in the house. My dad's like, "What's going on?" I locked the keys in the car. Oh, hey, no problem. So I follow him into the garage. I think he's going to get out like a Jimmy or something and open the door. Grabs a hammer. This is a true story. This is a guy. He walks to the back rear window and just smashes it. He goes, "Now you can get in." I'm like, all right. So now I didn't get it fixed right away, right? So I'd be driving. You guys all right back there? Hey, if it starts raining, just put your hood up. So this is what they were exposed to: a crazy grandfather and a crazier father.
That's funny. Yeah. That's funny. That's fun. Yeah, it's fun like that. You don't want to grow up.
Oh yeah. I mean, what was
your old buddy Walt Kyle, like assistant coach? Him and I and his brother lived together like last 2 years in college, and they had a family car that the family had given them. So and we were always going together. It wasn't the class. We were going to practice together. So we would all ride together. We were going to take turns in filling up the gas tank. And one time it was Walt's turn to fill it up. He did not fill it up, and we ran out of gas on the road. We were only about like 100 yards away from a gas station, but we all sat in that car for hours because we're all so stubborn. I'm not. And Walt, one time, I can't remember why he did this, but he's trying to get the hood open. He couldn't figure out how to open the hood, so he gets out a crowbar. So it's prying open the door.
Jeez.
When you look back at stuff, when
yeah.
And when you're doing it, it always seems like a good idea. But you look back,
seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's like that T-shirt that you and I were. I was talking about when we had Chris Wiley on.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how the SEALs come up with a really horrible idea and they make you do it. And I saw the T-shirt. It was in the Hamptons. It said, "That's an awful idea. I'm in."
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I've had driven around sometimes, and in my head, I'm thinking, I need to do something bad. Like I need to do something stupid.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know if I tell you this story. This is maybe I shouldn't even tell the story because it's pretty. But I was like 20 some years old, and my girlfriend. It was my birthday. And she made me dinner. It's a Friday night, but I'm with the guys after work, and like, oh, we're gonna stop here for one beer, then I'm gonna go. And now I'm supposed to be there at 7. Now it's 8. So I'm thinking, I'm only an hour late. Hey, Nancy, blah, blah, blah. I'm on the way, right? Another hour goes by, another hour. Yeah. Now it's like midnight. Now I'm like, like, what do I do? So I'm driving down Route 20 in New Jersey, and I go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to punch myself and tell her I got jumped. Now, this is how, yeah. And I do. I go like this, right? So I see a diner pulling me. I want to see what the damage looks like, right? Yeah. And I don't know if you remember the like you've seen scenes where somebody walks in the room and everybody stops what they're doing and they just go like this.
Yeah.
Well, when I got into the bathroom, my eye was shut. I had a black eye like for 4 weeks. Yeah, I mean, I really
did you tell her you punched yourself?
Oh yeah, and she bought it and everything worked out. But,
so she bought that you really did.
Yeah, I told her I got hit by a 2x4 and was a bunch of guys jumped me and all this stuff. Yeah, because I was working in Patterson. So yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, I almost fractured my own orbital. It was brilliant.
So once I turned pro, I went back up to Marquette, Michigan, my old college, and I'm Mr. Big Shot now. I got cash. I'm buying kegs and all this kind of. I got my first of all, it's the second vehicle I had. I think it was one of those Ford Broncos, black one. Never forget. So we brilliantly thought, okay, let's go out till like 2 a.m, having a few cocktails. And now everybody wants to pile in my car, and I'm going to drive home on the sidewalks. So now you've got just barely enough room for the vehicle to get down the sidewalks, and I have to go like 50. I have to go like 50 miles an hour too. I think. Okay, we're whizzing by the telephone poles, and they're all yeah, let's go. I think like what was I? Like, what an idiot.
I know. Look, the one good thing about getting a little older is that you can look back. All that stuff was long enough ago that it like really it's changed since then. Hopefully, to a certain extent. To a certain extent.
Yeah, you don't want to miss all that. Yeah, you want to be a little crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do things here that Beth just goes, well, stop.
I've told you the story about the dogs in the back and all this, and my deck has got like a nice a big fence, a solid fence, so it kind of gives you privacy. But there's one opening about 2 feet, so you can get it in and out, the landscapers, whatever it is. So I put the chair in the opening there, and people think, well, you're trying to keep the dogs out? The dog will just go underneath the fence. I said, no, I'm trying to keep me in because I'm going to get in trouble with that.
Well, I got into it like 2 years ago. I don't know. A kid out here didn't pick up, the dog poop. And he lied to me. He said, no, I didn't do it. And then Beth said, no, I was him. So I ran back up to him, and then I just lost it. I said, I don't care about the crap, but you're lying to me, blah, blah. So now it gets into this whole heated thing, right? So now Beth comes out and he tells her, get back in the house. And that's when I really snapped. who you don't tell her what to do, blah, blah. And then he says, and put a leash on him.
he told Beth to get back in the house.
Yeah, and that's when I really saw it.
Yeah.
Then I started like just snapping. And then that's when he said to Beth, put a leash on him.
Oh, leashes. There's a leash. There's a town ordinance that your dog has to be on a leash. Town of Greenwich. There is a clause in your lease that your dog has to be on a leash. I just don't see the big deal. Like, put the dog on a leash.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, and pick up.
Yeah, have some respect for other people.
Yeah. Nothing better than stepping in dog poo.
Oh, I know. Yeah, especially when you're paying tons of money in rent and everything too. Let me see what Susan Brooks has to say here. If you do have stuff now, some of you, yeah, totally, no question.
Oh God, yeah.
Actually, I had one confrontation with the guy with the dog, and he's a big hockey fan and everything too. And I said, just please I was trying to be nice. Okay, please put the dog on a leash. And he starts, oh, my dog's smarter than everybody else. It doesn't need to be a leash. So I'm trying to be calm and everything. And now he's walking with some woman, and she starts taping him. So now the dog runs up on me, and I don't know what the dog's going to do. So I don't, kill it, but I give it a little boot to get it away from me. She's videoing the whole thing. Now my blood pressure's going, right? And I'm thinking, okay, that's great. She's going to post that someplace and me beating that dog,
Yeah, on TikTok.
I know, yeah. Totally. All right, brother. We did some venting today. It was good. It's a good session.
It's starting to, it's like therapeutic. This is like,
we may have to do one of these every day with the things
every hour.
Oh, I know. All right. Good to see you again, brother.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Take care. Yep.